Welcome back to World Information HD, your go-to for the wildest facts that money can't buy, until you find it in your pocket. Today we're diving into the hidden fortunes hiding in plain sight. The top 10 rare and valuable Lincoln Wheat pennies from the US Mint. Pennies that were once worth 1 cent, but today are worth millions. From wartime mistakes to mint mark mysteries, we'll uncover how a humble, wheat penny, stamped with Abraham Lincoln's profile and 2 wheat stalks on the reverse, turned into collectible gold. So next time you dig through your change jar, don't toss that brown cent. You might just be sitting on a fortune. The year was 1937, a time when America was still emerging from the shadows of the Great Depression. Life was simpler then, yet every coin that passed from hand to hand carried a story of survival, of resilience, and of history in motion. Among those coins, one stands out today as a silent witness to that era: the 1937 Lincoln Wheat penny without a mint mark. This humble 1-cent coin, made of simple copper, holds a history deeper than its face value suggests. What once jingled in the pockets of hardworking Americans during one of the toughest periods in U.S. history is now a highly sought-after collectible that could change hands for thousands of dollars. But what makes this particular coin so special? Why do collectors chase after it with such passion, and how did this everyday penny become a hidden treasure? Let's take a journey through its story, a tale of craftsmanship, rarity, and unexpected fortune. In 1937, the United States Mint produced millions of Lincoln Wheat pennies, continuing a beloved design that had already become iconic since its introduction in 1909. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse side of the coin bears the famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, whose legacy of honesty and unity made him the perfect face for America's most common coin. Above Lincoln's head, the words, "In God We Trust," remind us of the nation's faith and perseverance. To the left, liberty is engraved with precision, and to the right, the year 1937 stands proudly, marking its place in time. But one thing stands out: there's no mint mark beneath the date. That's the first clue to its identity. This means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the oldest and most historically significant of the U.S. mint facilities. Unlike coins from Denver or San Francisco, which carry a small D or S mint mark, those from Philadelphia often lack this marking entirely. At first glance, that might make it seem ordinary, but this very detail sets the foundation for its mystique. The reverse side of the coin displays 2 gracefully arched wheat ears, the symbol of prosperity and agricultural strength. Between them are the words 1 cent and United States of America, framed by the timeless motto, E pluribus unum, which translates to, out of many, one. These simple yet powerful engravings capture America's spirit of unity and endurance during a time when hope was scarce but never lost. Now, let's step back into the 1930s. The Great Depression had taken its toll. Factories closed, families struggled, and every penny mattered, literally. For many Americans, a single cent could buy a piece of candy, a postage stamp, or even a loaf of bread. The Lincoln penny wasn't just spare change, it was part of daily life. Millions of 1937 pennies circulated across the country, used by farmers, shopkeepers, children, and factory workers alike. They jingled in tin lunchboxes, clinked on store counters, and rested in old wooden drawers. However, over the years, many of these coins disappeared, worn down, lost, or melted for their metal during times of need. And among the survivors, only a few remain in pristine, uncirculated condition, the kind of quality that collectors dream about. Those coins, untouched by time and human hands, are what make the 1937 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny so valuable today. Collectors and historians alike prize this coin not only for its age but for its historical significance. Every 1937 penny is like a miniature time capsule, a tangible connection to America's past. It's from an era before World War II, before television, before modern technology reshaped the world. Holding this coin is like holding a piece of that history, a fragment of a world that existed nearly 90 years ago. The beauty of the 1937 Lincoln penny lies in its imperfections too. Some rare varieties of this coin show fascinating minting errors that make them even more desirable. These could include double die obverse, repunched mint marks, though this one lacks a mint mark. Some related varieties show hints of errors, or slight misalignments in the die strikes. Each error tells a unique story of human craftsmanship, of the limitations of old minting technology, and of the unintentional accidents that created some of the most valuable coins known today. When it comes to coin collecting, condition is everything. Experts use a grading scale to determine a coin's quality, ranging from good and fine for circulated coins to mint state for those in perfect, untouched condition. Most 1937 pennies found in circulation show heavy wear. The details of Lincoln's hair and the wheat stalks on the reverse often faded from years of handling. But once in a while, a collector or metal detector enthusiast uncovers a piece that still gleams like the day it was minted. Those are the treasures that make hearts race and auctions come alive. The fascination with the Lincoln wheat penny isn't just about money. It's about nostalgia, a longing for the past, for simpler times when coins had character, when their design carried meaning. The wheat design, used from 1909 to 1958, remains one of the most beloved in American numismatics. It symbolizes hard work, growth, and the spirit of a nation built on agriculture and industry. After 1959, the design was replaced with the Lincoln Memorial reverse, marking the end of an era. That's another reason why these earlier wheat pennies, especially those from the 1930s, hold such sentimental and collectible value. Now, imagine stumbling upon a 1937 penny in your change, a small, worn coin that you almost overlook. You might toss it into a jar or use it to pay for something trivial. But what if that tiny piece of copper turned out to be worth thousands? What if, hidden in plain sight, you were holding a piece of history that collectors across the world are eager to find? It's a thrilling thought, and it has happened more often than you'd think. Across online auctions and coin shows, these pennies often attract bidding wars. Collectors hunt tirelessly for the cleanest, sharpest examples. Those with deep red luster, full details, and no scratches are especially prized. They're graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, sealed in protective cases, and treated like the rare artifacts they are. A top-graded 1937 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark isn't just a coin, it's a symbol of endurance, craftsmanship, and rarity. Beyond collectors, there's something poetic about the way this small coin has transcended its purpose. It was made to be spent, to circulate, to serve, yet now it stands as a piece of art, history, and value. From the mints of Philadelphia to the pockets of Depression-era workers, and finally into the vaults of modern collectors, this coin has traveled a journey that few objects ever do. It represents a story of America, of struggle, of survival, and of rediscovery. Even today, coin enthusiasts search old jars, estate sales, and inherited collections hoping to find one of these gems. Sometimes, it takes a trained eye to recognize it. The difference between an ordinary penny and a treasure can be as subtle as the sharpness of Lincoln's cheek, the depth of the wheat stalks, or the shine of the metal itself. Those who know what to look for could turn a few cents into a fortune. And that brings us to the big question: how much is the 1937 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny really worth today? Well, its value depends on condition, rarity, and demand. Circulated coins can be worth just a few cents, maybe $1 or $2, depending on their wear. But uncirculated examples, those kept in pristine condition since the day they were struck, can command incredible prices. Especially those that maintain their original red luster, showing no signs of oxidation or handling. It's almost poetic. A coin worth just 1 cent when it was made, now capable of fetching thousands of dollars because of its survival, its story, and its state of preservation. The world of coin collecting thrives on these miracles, moments when history, rarity, and condition align perfectly to create value beyond imagination. So next time you come across an old Lincoln wheat penny, take a moment to look closer. Check the year, examine the details, and remember that what may look like ordinary change could actually be an extraordinary relic from America's past. Because sometimes, the smallest treasures carry the biggest stories. Welcome back everyone to World Information HD. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of American coinage, and this time, we're taking a closer look at one of the most classic and historically rich coins in U.S. history, the 1939 no-mint Mark Lincoln Wheat penny. If you've ever found yourself wondering whether that old penny in your collection or pocket could be worth something, then you're in for a treat. The 1939 Lincoln cent may look ordinary at first glance, but its true story, historical background, and value surprises even seasoned collectors. So sit tight, because this journey through time, design, rarity, and market value might just inspire you to start checking your change again. Let's rewind the clock to the year 1939, a time when the United States was slowly recovering from the Great Depression. The world was changing rapidly. War clouds were forming over Europe, and industries were beginning to rise again in America. Amid all this, the humble Lincoln Wheat penny continued to be a symbol of everyday life, a coin that touched the hands of workers, shopkeepers, and families across the nation. The Lincoln Wheat cent, first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, was a revolutionary coin for its time. It marked the first appearance of a real person, and specifically, a U.S. president, on American coinage. Before Lincoln, U.S. coins only displayed symbolic figures like liberty or allegorical designs. But the Lincoln cent changed everything, bringing history and national pride directly into the pockets of millions. By 1939, the Lincoln Wheat penny had already become an icon, designed by the talented Victor David Brenner, who immortalized Lincoln's image on the obverse side. The front of the coin proudly features the bust of Abraham Lincoln facing right, with the word, Liberty, on the left, and the year, 1939, stamped on the right. Above Lincoln's head, the timeless motto, In God We Trust, is perfectly inscribed, a reminder of the values the nation stood upon. Turning to the reverse side of the coin, we see the classic wheat ears, two stylized stalks curving gracefully around the edges, framing the inscriptions, 1 cent, and United States of America. Above them, the Latin phrase, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many one, reinforces unity and heritage. This wheat design is where the coin earned its popular nickname, the Wheat Penny. Now, here's something that makes the 1939 no-mint Mark Lincoln Wheat penny particularly interesting. The no-mint mark part means it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which, at the time, did not use a mint mark on pennies. So if you look at your 1939 penny and there's no small letter below the date, that's a Philadelphia strike. The Philadelphia Mint produced a total of 316,466,000 Lincoln cents that year, a hefty number, which might make you think these coins are all common and not valuable. But here's where the magic begins. While millions were struck, only a small portion survived in pristine condition, untouched by time, circulation, or environmental damage. And it's those rare, well-preserved examples that command serious attention in today's collector market. To truly understand the worth of a 1939 penny, you have to look at three main factors: condition, rarity, and demand. Let's start with condition, often determined using a grading scale from poor, P1, all the way up to mint state, MS70. Coins that were heavily used in circulation have scratches, fading, and dull surfaces. But uncirculated coins, those that were stored carefully and never spent, can still shine as if they were minted yesterday. If you have a 1939 penny that looks clean, sharp, and detailed, take a closer look at Lincoln's hair, his coat, and the lettering. Sharp lines mean higher grades, and higher grades mean higher prices. The rarity factor comes into play when we consider how few have survived in such beautiful condition. Many of these coins were lost, damaged, or melted down over the decades. World War II and post-war metal recycling caused countless older coins to disappear from circulation forever. Those that remain intact, especially in red or red-brown color varieties, are the ones collectors crave. And finally, there's demand, one of the most powerful forces in the coin world. The Lincoln Wheat series is among the most collected in all of numismatics. Enthusiasts of all ages, from beginners to experts, chase after these coins to complete full sets spanning from 1909 to 1958. This demand drives up the price of high-quality coins, even for years that were heavily minted, like 1939. Now, here's an important note about color designation. When you hear collectors or grading companies mention red, brown, or brown, they're talking about the toning of the copper surface. Freshly minted Lincoln cents were bright red due to their pure copper content. Over time, oxidation changes the color to brown. Coins that retain that fiery red hue after more than 80 years are extremely scarce, and far more valuable. The Philadelphia Mint 1939 penny, without any mint mark, comes in all these variations. A 1939 cent that's completely brown might sell for a few dollars in lightly circulated grades. A red-brown version, especially in uncirculated condition, could easily climb into the tens or hundreds of dollars range. But when you reach those dazzling, red examples, flawless, glowing, and perfectly struck, the numbers take a dramatic leap. Another fascinating detail about the 1939 penny is the craftsmanship and striking quality. By this time, the mint had refined its production techniques, resulting in clearer and sharper images. Collectors often note that Lincoln's face and hair details are especially well defined on coins from this year. However, tiny variations exist among different dies used in production. Some coins show doubled features, light die cracks, or weak strikes, all adding intrigue for specialists who love variety errors. Speaking of errors, error coins are another world of wonder for collectors. Occasionally, during minting, a die might shift or clash, creating unusual marks or doubling on the design. A 1939 penny with such an error, perhaps a doubled die, off-center strike, or even a lamination flaw, can bring premium prices far beyond the ordinary. Some of these oddities have sold for hundreds or even thousands depending on their rarity and eye appeal. But the story doesn't stop there. To appreciate this coin's true character, you have to imagine its journey, traveling through the pockets of 1930s Americans, perhaps used to buy a newspaper, a loaf of bread, or a few pieces of candy. It's a piece of living history that connects us directly to another era. By the late 1950s, the wheat design was retired and replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse, marking the end of an era. That change only made the earlier wheat pennies more nostalgic and collectible. Each one now represents not just a coin, but a chapter of American life, forged from copper, aged by time, and cherished by collectors. If you're curious whether your 1939 no-mint mark penny could be valuable, take a close look. Hold it under a light. Observe the color, the shine, the sharpness of the details. And if you think it looks extraordinary, consider getting it professionally graded. Coin grading services like PCGS or NGC can authenticate your coin and assign it a numeric grade, from MS60 up to MS68 or higher, dramatically impacting its value. Coins graded MS65 and above are considered gems. They have stunning luster, full strike, and virtually no visible marks. These top-tier examples are what auction houses and collectors dream of finding. In recent years, some of the highest quality 1939 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat pennies have surprised the numismatic community with their auction results. Collectors are willing to pay thousands for coins that appear as if they were just minted yesterday, even though they're more than 8 decades old. So, before you dismiss that old copper cent as just a penny, think again. Each one is a silent storyteller, carrying with it the economic and emotional history of America's past. It's a coin that saw the rise of industry, the struggles of ordinary people, and the hope of a nation rebuilding itself. Whether you're a casual collector, an investor, or just someone fascinated by history, the 1939 Lincoln wheat penny deserves a special place in your collection. Its beauty, design, and legacy remind us that sometimes the smallest things, even a 1-cent coin, can hold immense historical and monetary value. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. Just how much could this 1939 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny actually be worth today in its finest condition? Well, prepare to be amazed. A stunning, perfectly preserved 1939 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny, graded in top mint state condition, blazing with original red color and full luster, has been valued and sold for an incredible $53,332. Welcome everyone to World Information HD, the channel that uncovers hidden treasures in your pocket change and tells you the incredible stories behind the most valuable coins in the United States. Today, we are diving into the fascinating world of one of America's most iconic coins, the 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny with no mint mark. This isn't just an ordinary coin, it's a piece of American history. A symbol of resilience, craftsmanship, and mystery. And if you have one tucked away in your coin jar, or handed down from your grandparents, you might be sitting on a small fortune without even realizing it. Let's take a journey back to the year 1941, a time when the world stood on the brink of war. Franklin D. Roosevelt was president, the United States was preparing to enter World War II, and the economy was still recovering from the Great Depression. Every cent mattered, and the Lincoln Wheat Penny played a vital role in everyday American life. Now imagine this. Millions of people were using these coins daily to buy bread, milk, newspapers, or a ticket to a Saturday night movie. And yet, more than 80 years later, one of those simple copper coins can be worth tens of thousands of dollars today. How is that possible? Let's explore. The 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny was struck at 3 different locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D mint mark; and San Francisco, S mint mark. The coin we're focusing on today, the no mint mark version, was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Philadelphia struck an incredible 887 million of these coins that year. With such a high number, you might assume they are common and not valuable. But here's where the magic of numismatics, the study and collection of coins, truly shines. You see, not all coins are created equal. Even if millions are produced, only a few survive in pristine, untouched condition. Over time, many pennies were spent, worn out, damaged, or melted. The few that remain in exceptional, original mint condition are now extremely valuable. Collectors from all around the world hunt for these perfect specimens because of their historical significance, eye appeal, and rarity in top grades. The 1941 no mint mark wheat penny features the same classic design that Americans had grown to love since 1909. On the obverse side, we see the famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln, sculpted by Victor David Brenner. It's a timeless image of honesty and leadership, one that connects the coin directly to the heart of American values. Above Lincoln's head, the phrase, "In God We Trust," proudly stands, while to the left is the word, "Liberty," and to the right, the date 1941 is engraved. Flip it over, and you'll find 2 beautifully curved wheat ears framing the words, 1 cent, and United States of America. Above that sits the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one. The reverse design is simple yet powerful, symbolizing prosperity and unity, traits America held dear during a difficult and uncertain era. But what makes the 1941 penny special isn't just its design or age. It's the stories and conditions behind the coins that survived. Let's talk about minting quality, errors, and rarity, 3 factors that dramatically influence a coin's value. First, the minting quality. In 1941, the U.S. Mint was working at full speed to produce billions of coins to support a growing economy. Because of this, the quality control wasn't as tight as in other years. Some coins came out with weak strikes, uneven edges, or double dies, all of which make them unique and valuable to collectors today. Now, if your 1941 no mint mark penny shows sharp details, shiny red luster, and no signs of circulation, it could be worth a significant amount. Coins in mint state, MS condition, especially those graded MS 67 or MS 68 red, are extremely rare. Fewer than a handful exist in such pristine quality, making them highly sought after at auctions. Second, let's talk about errors. Coin errors are like nature's little accidents, unexpected but fascinating. Some 1941 wheat pennies were struck slightly off-center, had die cracks, or displayed double-die obverse features where Lincoln's profile or the inscriptions appear doubled. These are called double-die errors, and collectors go crazy for them. Depending on the visibility of the doubling and the coin's condition, these error coins can fetch thousands of dollars. There's even a mysterious rumor among collectors of a 1941 off-metal strike, coins accidentally struck on planchets meant for foreign coins or other denominations. If confirmed, such coins are ultra-rare and would send shockwaves through the numismatic world. Now, one of the most fascinating aspects of collecting the 1941 penny is its color grading. Copper coins like the Lincoln cent change color over time due to oxidation. Professional coin grading services classify them as brown, BN, red-brown, RB, or red, RD. The redder the coin, meaning the more original mint luster it retains, the higher the value. A 1941 penny with deep, blazing red color, untouched by time, can be worth hundreds or even thousands more than the same coin in dull brown condition. To understand why collectors pay so much for these coins, we must think about the history they represent. This penny circulated during the time when the U.S. was ramping up for World War II. Every household was affected by rationing, savings, and patriotism. People were encouraged to save cents to build defense. It's fascinating to imagine that some of these 1941 pennies might have passed through the hands of soldiers, factory workers, or children collecting for war bonds. The coin also marks the final full year of copper composition before the war changed everything. In 1943, due to the copper shortage, the U.S. Mint temporarily switched to steel cents coated in zinc, resulting in the famous silver-colored 1943 steel penny. That makes the 1941 penny one of the last true copper cents before the material change, an important historical milestone that adds even more desirability to this coin. Collectors often seek out wheat pennies from the late 1930s and early 1940s because they represent the end of an era. Coins made with real copper, showing classic American artistry. Before the demands of war transformed the minting process forever. If you're wondering how to tell whether your 1941 penny might be worth big money, here's what to look for. No mint mark below the date, confirming it's from the Philadelphia Mint. Sharp, bold details, especially in Lincoln's hair and beard, and in the wheat stalks on the back. Original color. Coins with a bright red luster are far more valuable. No scratches or wear. Even a tiny nick can drop the grade and reduce value dramatically. Potential doubling or other mint errors. Inspect under magnification for any unusual features. If your coin meets these criteria, it's worth getting it professionally graded by a trusted service like PCGS or NGC. A certified coin in high mint state condition not only fetches a better price but also gives collectors confidence in its authenticity and grade. Now, let's talk about actual sales. Over the years, the 1941 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny has appeared in several major auctions. Coins in lower circulated condition might only be worth a few cents to a few dollars, depending on where. But once you move up to mint state grades, the prices skyrocket. For example, a brilliant red 1941 penny graded MS66RD can sell for several $100s. Move up to MS67RD, and now you're talking several thousand. But the true treasures, the finest known examples, have stunned even the most experienced collectors. One particular 1941 Lincoln wheat penny, preserved in nearly flawless condition, with full luster and sharp strike, was sold for an astonishing $66,432. Yes, that's right, a single 1-cent coin, once used to buy candy or a newspaper, is now worth $66,432. That's the incredible world of coin collecting, where history, rarity, and condition combine to turn something ordinary into something extraordinary. So the next time you open that old coin jar, or come across a handful of change from your grandparents' collection, take a closer look. That dull old penny might just be a hidden piece of American history, and perhaps your golden ticket to a collector's fortune. If you enjoyed learning about this remarkable 1941 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny, make sure to like this video, subscribe to World Information HD, and turn on notifications so you never miss another story about rare and valuable coins from the past. Who knows? The next coin we talk about might be sitting right there in your pocket. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy collecting! Welcome back to World Information HD, the channel that uncovers the hidden treasures lying right in your pocket change. Today, we're going to dive deep into one of the most fascinating and highly collected coins in American history, the 1944 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny. This little 1-cent piece has amazed collectors for decades because of its story, its variations, and its surprising value. So grab your magnifying glass, Because you might just have one of these rare coins hiding in your home without even knowing it. The year 1944 was a remarkable one for the United States. The world was still engulfed in the events of World War II, and the U.S. Mint was working overtime to produce coins that would keep the nation's economy running smoothly. However, during those war years, something very interesting happened in the world of coinage. To save copper for the war effort, the U.S. Mint experimented with using different metals for coin production, and this decision would forever change the story of the Lincoln cent. In 1943, pennies were struck from steel coated with zinc instead of the usual bronze composition. The steel cents were lighter and had a silvery appearance, making them look more like dimes. People often confused them for other coins, and the steel pennies even rusted over time, which led to their quick discontinuation. By 1944, the mint decided to return to the traditional bronze composition made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. Now here's where it gets really interesting, and where the 1944 no-mint mark penny begins to shine. The Philadelphia Mint, which is responsible for coins without any mint mark, produced a massive number of Lincoln wheat pennies in 1944, over 1 billion pieces. That's right, billions of these coins were struck, which might make you think they're all common and worth just a cent. But within that sea of copper, there are special varieties and minting errors that make some of these pennies worth thousands of dollars. Let's talk about what to look for. The 1944 Lincoln wheat penny features the familiar design by Victor David Brenner. On the obverse side, you'll see the portrait of President Abraham Lincoln facing right, with the word Liberty to his left and the date 1944 to his right. Above Lincoln's head, you'll find the national motto, "In God We Trust." On the reverse, you'll see two wheat stalks curving along the sides with 1 cent in bold letters at the center, and the words, United States of America, just below it. At the top, the coin proudly reads, E pluribus unum. Now, what makes this simple design so collectible is not just its appearance but its composition, condition, and any errors that occurred during minting. Most 1944 pennies from Philadelphia are made of regular bronze, but a few were accidentally struck on leftover steel planchets from 1943. These 1944 steel pennies are among the rarest coins in U.S. history. Imagine a penny from 1944 that sticks to a magnet because it was made of steel instead of copper. Even if you don't have one of those rare steel versions, don't lose hope. The 1944 no-mint mark bronze pennies can still be valuable depending on their grade and condition. Let's break that down. Coin collectors use a grading scale called the Sheldon scale, which ranges from poor, P1, to mint state, MS70. A typical 1944 penny that's circulated, meaning it's been used in regular transactions, might only be worth a few cents to a few dollars. But once you get into the uncirculated or mint state grades, the value skyrockets. For example, a 1944 no-mint mark penny graded MS65 with sharp details, beautiful luster, and minimal wear can sell for anywhere from $10 to $50. That's already a nice profit for something originally worth 1 cent. But that's only the beginning. Collectors especially prize coins with strong strikes, vibrant red color, and original mint luster. Over time, most copper coins naturally darken or develop a brown tone, but the ones that still have their bright reddish appearance from the day they were minted are much rarer and more desirable. These are known as red RD coins in the grading system. The next level of grading includes red-brown, RB, and brown, BN, with red being the most valuable of the three. A 1944 penny in pristine red condition can command far higher prices than its duller counterparts. But wait, the true thrill for collectors often comes from errors and varieties, and the 1944 penny doesn't disappoint in that area either. One famous error is the 1944 D over S mint mark variety, where a Denver minted coin accidentally shows traces of an S from the San Francisco mint underneath the D. While this error doesn't occur on the Philadelphia coins since they have no mint mark, it's important to be aware of such anomalies because similar die varieties can appear on no mint mark coins too, such as double dies, off-center strikes, and die cracks. A double die obverse occurs when the coin die imprints a doubled image onto the coin. You might notice doubled lettering in Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, or even the date 1944. Coins with strong doubling effects are highly collectible and can sell for hundreds of dollars. Another kind of minting mistake involves off-center strikes, where the design is misaligned because the coin blank wasn't centered correctly during minting. Depending on how off-center it is, such an error can fetch anywhere from $50 to several $100s. But here's where patience pays off. You'll need to carefully inspect your 1944 penny under a magnifier or take it to a coin shop for professional appraisal. What looks like a small difference to the naked eye might be the key to unlocking a big payday. Now, how can you tell if your 1944 penny is the rare steel version? There's a simple test: use a magnet. If your penny sticks, it's made of steel, and that's a huge deal. These 1944 steel cents are worth a small fortune, because only a few dozen are known to exist. The reason they were made is that some leftover steel planchets from 1943 accidentally got mixed in with the 1944 copper planchets during production. This tiny mistake turned those coins into some of the most legendary pennies in numismatic history. To make things even more intriguing, collectors also search for coins with unique die polishing marks, lamination errors, and clipped planchets. These are subtle imperfections that occurred at the mint, and they give each coin its own character. The 1944 penny is more than just a piece of copper, it's a relic from an era when the country was rebuilding hope during war. Every one of these coins tells a story. Imagine how many hands it's passed through, how many pockets it's lived in, and how many stories it's silently witnessed. From the factory workers who earned it, to the children who collected them in jars, to the collectors today who carefully examine them under bright lights, the 1944 penny remains a timeless treasure. Even after 80 years, the Lincoln Wheat penny still captures the hearts of collectors because it represents both history and mystery. It's a symbol of endurance, a small coin that survived world changes, recessions, and countless hands, yet still holds value far beyond its original worth. If you're searching through your change jar or a box of old coins passed down from your grandparents, always look for that 1944 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny. Check the color, the shine, and even the small imperfections. You never know when you might find that one extraordinary piece that could turn your penny into pure gold. Remember, rarity and condition drive value. So store your coins properly, avoid cleaning them, and always handle them carefully, preferably by the edges. Cleaning can actually lower a coin's value because it damages the original surface. Let it age gracefully. Collectors love authenticity. Now comes the exciting part, the reason so many people are fascinated by the 1944 no-mint mark penny. Among all those produced, a few extraordinary examples have appeared at auctions in perfect condition, preserved as if time never touched them. These coins, with full red luster, strong strike details, and minimal marks, have stunned collectors and investors alike. One particular 1944 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny, preserved in immaculate condition and boasting exceptional quality, was sold for a jaw-dropping amount. And that incredible coin fetched a value of $54,883. Yes, you heard that right, over $54,000 for a single 1-cent coin. That's the beauty of numismatics. Sometimes, the smallest piece of metal can carry the greatest worth. So the next time you come across an old penny, don't overlook it. History has a way of hiding treasure in plain sight. Check those coins carefully. Who knows, the 1944 Lincoln Wheat penny sitting quietly in your drawer could be your unexpected ticket to a small fortune. Thanks for watching World Information HD. Welcome back to World Information HD, your trusted source for discovering the rarest and most valuable coins ever minted in the United States. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating story of the 1953 mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny, a small copper coin that many people overlook, but which holds a secret value that could astonish any collector. If you've ever wondered whether that old penny sitting in your drawer or change jar could be worth a fortune, then stay tuned, because what you're about to learn might change the way you look at every single cent you find. Let's begin by going back to the year 1953, a time when America was in a post-war boom. Dwight D. Eisenhower was president, televisions were becoming common in households, and a loaf of bread cost just 14 cents. Pennies were something people didn't pay much attention to. They jingled in pockets, got lost in car seats, and piled up in jars. Yet among the millions minted that year, one version, the 1953 D Mint Mark Lincoln Wheat Penny, turned out to be a coin collector's dream. The letter D on this penny stands for the Denver Mint, where it was struck. That year, the Denver Mint produced over 700 million Lincoln Wheat pennies. Yes, you heard that right, hundreds of millions of them. So you might wonder, with so many made, how could one of these coins possibly be valuable? The answer lies in the details. The minting errors, the condition, and the rarity of certain preserved examples that survived in perfect shape through the decades. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series had already become a cornerstone of American coin collecting. Designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, this coin replaced the Indian head cent. The obverse, or front, features Lincoln's bust facing right with the words, "In God We Trust," arched above, Liberty, to his left, and the date, 1953, followed by a small D mint mark beneath. The reverse design is equally iconic. Two wheat stalks curve upward along the sides, framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, with E pluribus unum at the top. Now, at first glance, the 1953 D penny might not look special at all. It's made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, weighing about 3.11 grams, the same as most wheat pennies of the era. But the true magic of this coin lies in its condition and rarity of striking errors. Collectors often seek out coins that were struck unusually well, meaning they show strong details and no signs of wear, scratches, or fading. Some 1953 D pennies were struck using slightly worn dies, causing weak strikes and soft details. However, a few lucky survivors were struck sharply and stored carefully, often ending up in original mint rolls, uncirculated sets, or old coin jars kept by families for generations. Let's talk about those valuable errors, the rare varieties that can turn a simple penny into a jackpot. One of the most well-known errors among 1953 D pennies is the repunched mint mark, or RPM. This occurs when the letter D was accidentally punched twice into the coin die, resulting in a shadow-like double mint mark. Some versions show the D slightly north or south of the original, creating a doubling effect that's easily visible under magnification. These varieties are extremely collectible and often command higher prices in the market. Another fascinating aspect collectors look for is the die break, or cud. A cud occurs when part of the coin die breaks off during striking, leaving a raised blob of metal on the coin's surface, usually along the rim. For the 1953 D wheat penny, a few examples with such striking imperfections exist and are prized for their uniqueness. The more dramatic the break, the higher the coin's potential value. Beyond errors, the grade of the coin makes a tremendous difference. A 1953 D penny found in circulation, with scratches, dirt, or dull surfaces, might only be worth a few cents. But if the coin is in mint state condition, especially MS65, MS66, or higher, the value can rise exponentially. Mint state coins show no signs of wear and maintain their full original luster, which is that beautiful shine a coin has when it's first struck. Collectors and grading companies like PCGS and NGC have certified only a limited number of these coins in such top condition, which makes them rare and extremely desirable. Imagine finding one of these coins in your possession, a piece of American history that has survived more than 70 years without a single scratch. That's part of the thrill of coin collecting, the idea that a small, ordinary-looking penny could hold the potential to be worth thousands. It's not just about metal and money, it's about history, art, and luck combined into one tiny artifact. Many people inherit old coin collections from grandparents or discover forgotten rolls of wheat pennies tucked away in attics and basements. If you ever come across a roll marked 1953 D, don't dismiss it. Examine each coin carefully under good light. Look for strong strikes, clean surfaces, and any doubling on the mint mark. Even a small imperfection or variety can make a huge difference in value. What makes the 1953 D penny even more interesting is its connection to an era of American optimism. Copper pennies from this time represent strength, endurance, and prosperity, values that resonate with collectors. Each coin tells a story. Maybe it once passed through a diner in Colorado, or bought a newspaper in Kansas, or jingled in the pocket of a soldier returning home from the Korean War. Every mark and tone on its surface whispers a story from America's past. Over time, coin collectors and numismatists have come to treasure wheat pennies as one of the most affordable gateways into coin collecting. While the majority of 1953 pennies remain common, the rarest examples, especially those in pristine, red uncirculated condition, stand out as shining stars in the series. When you look at an uncirculated 1953 penny under bright light, you'll notice that rich copper-red glow that collectors describe as full red luster. This brilliant shine is what makes high-grade coins so beautiful and valuable. Many coins darken over time, turning brown or even black as they react with air, but those that retain their original color are considered far superior in the grading scale. A perfectly preserved, red, 1953 penny graded MS67 or higher can command an astonishing premium at auction. Auction houses across America have seen some of these coins fetch eye-popping amounts. Collectors from around the world compete for them, often driving prices far beyond expectations. And it's not just experienced numismatists who find these treasures. Even casual hobbyists and beginners sometimes stumble upon them in inherited collections, estate sales, or old bankrolls. So, what should you do if you think you have a valuable 1953 penny? First, handle it carefully. Never touch the surface directly with your fingers. Use cotton gloves or hold it by the edges. Avoid cleaning it, as cleaning can actually damage the coin and reduce its value. Then, consider having it graded by a professional service like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company. These organizations authenticate and grade coins, giving them a certified value recognized by collectors and dealers worldwide. Even if your 1953 penny isn't a top-graded gem, it's still worth holding on to. After all, it's a tangible piece of history from a time when pennies still carried meaning, when copper was pure, and when craftsmanship mattered. Each coin from that era reminds us how something so small could survive generations and still tell the story of America's growth and transformation. Today, the Lincoln Wheat Penny remains one of the most beloved coins in U.S. history. From its humble beginnings in 1909 to its final year in 1958, it has captured the hearts of millions of collectors. And among them, the 1953 stands tall, a coin of modest origins but immense potential. Now, let's get to the moment you've been waiting for. You might be wondering just how much one of these rare 1953 Lincoln Wheat pennies could be worth in top condition. Well, brace yourself, because an exceptionally preserved example of the 1953 mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny has been sold for an incredible price of $52,333. That's right, over $52,000 for a single copper penny. So the next time you come across an old Lincoln Wheat penny, take a closer look. It might not just be a piece of loose change, it could be a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. Thanks for watching World Information HD, where history and mystery meet in every coin. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing stories about rare and valuable coins from across the world. Your next great discovery might be right in your pocket. Welcome back to World Information HD, your #1 place for exploring the hidden treasures of American coins, where small pieces of copper can turn into stories worth thousands of dollars. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most talked about coins among collectors, historians, and numismatists, the 1955 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny. It might look like just another old penny from your change jar, but the truth behind it is far more fascinating. This tiny coin carries with it a story of error, rarity, and incredible value that continues to amaze people even today. Let's take a slow and exciting journey into the world of the 1955 Lincoln Wheat penny, its design, its history, how to identify it, and most importantly, why collectors are willing to pay unbelievable amounts of money for a single piece of copper. The year 1955 was an interesting one for the United States Mint. It was a time when the Lincoln Wheat penny had already been in circulation for nearly half a century, first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this penny was a masterpiece of simplicity and tribute, featuring Lincoln's dignified profile on the obverse, and 2 wheat stalks surrounding the words, 1 cent, and United States of America on the reverse. Now, most years of the Lincoln Wheat series passed without much excitement, but 1955 was different. Something unusual happened that year, something that would make one of the most famous era coins in American history. While the coin we are discussing today is the no mint mark version made in Philadelphia, it's also surrounded by stories of era coins that made this year legendary among collectors. The Philadelphia Mint, responsible for producing coins without mint marks, was working at full speed to meet the demands of circulation. During that process, thousands of dies were being used to strike millions of Lincoln cents. But something subtle yet crucial went wrong in a small number of them. In 1955, a misalignment occurred between the working hub and the die that was used to strike the coin. This mechanical mishap created what collectors now call the doubled die effect, a striking visual distortion where the letters and numbers on the coin appear doubled, as if they were printed twice slightly out of place. While not every 1955 penny shows this dramatic doubling, even the regular no mint mark coins from that year carry a deep historical charm. They were born in the same era, under the same machines, and during one of the most interesting periods in U.S. coin production. These coins became symbols of an age when craftsmanship and technology were still learning to coexist. When you hold a 1955 no mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny, you're not just holding a piece of copper, you're holding a piece of American industrial history. Each coin weighs about 3.11 grams and is composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. Over time, the bright red-orange luster of these coins has faded into beautiful shades of brown or reddish-brown depending on how they've been preserved. One of the most fascinating aspects of this coin is its design longevity. Victor David Brenner's depiction of Lincoln was so admired that it remains on U.S. pennies even today, over a century later. Imagine that. Something designed in 1909 still being used in the modern minting process. That's how iconic the Lincoln cent is, and that's why collectors hold every variation, especially the 1955 issue, in such high regard. Now let's talk about the condition. Like most coins, the value of the 1955 Lincoln Wheat penny depends heavily on its grade. Coins are rated on the Sheldon scale, from poor P1 to mint state, MS 70. Even a small difference in condition can change its value drastically. For instance, a well-circulated penny from 1955 may only fetch a few dollars, but a coin that has been kept in pristine mint state condition can be worth thousands of dollars to the right collector. What truly makes collectors go wild is when they find a 1955 penny that still shines with that original mint luster. These coins have no scratches, no fingerprints, and a deep red tone that reflects light beautifully. Such coins are often stored carefully in airtight holders, safe from air and moisture, to preserve their condition for decades or even centuries. Another element that adds charm to these coins is their connection to the post-World War II economy. In 1955, America was booming, industries were growing, new technologies were emerging, and people were starting to see coins not just as money, but as a collectible window into the nation's history. Many collectors at the time began saving Lincoln Wheat pennies in jars, coin books, and envelopes. Some didn't even know that what they were saving might one day be worth a fortune. If you ever come across an old jar of pennies in your attic, or if your grandparents kept coin rolls from decades ago, take a careful look, you never know what you might find. The 1955 no mint mark Wheat penny could be sitting quietly among them, waiting to tell its story once again. Collectors also value these coins because of their rarity and top condition. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 330 million Lincoln cents in 1955, but the majority were used in circulation and worn down through everyday use. Only a small percentage survived in exceptional condition. Those are the ones that attract big money at auctions and coin shows. To understand just how prized these coins are, consider that coin grading services like PCGS and NGC often certify and encapsulate them for collectors. Once graded, A 1955 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny can officially become part of a numismatic portfolio. Its authenticity, condition, and rarity all verified. When you look closely at the obverse of this coin, you'll see the words, "In God We Trust," arched across the top, Liberty, to the left of Lincoln's portrait, and the year, 1955, just below. The absence of a mint mark below the date confirms that it was struck in Philadelphia. On the reverse, the wheat ears flank the denomination. 1 cent. A simple yet powerful design that symbolizes the agricultural roots of America. The phrase, "E pluribus unum," meaning, "out of many one," proudly reminds us of the unity that holds the nation together. The design of this coin may appear modest, but it carries timeless elegance. Every curve, every letter, every tiny wheat detail tells a story of craftsmanship that has withstood the test of time. And then there's the emotional connection that collectors feel. For many, owning a 1955 Lincoln wheat penny isn't just about money, it's about history, memory, and legacy. It connects generations of coin enthusiasts who started their journeys as children, searching through pocket change, dreaming of finding that one special coin. Even today, the thrill of the hunt continues. People still search through old rolls, coin shows, and estate sales hoping to find a gem from 1955. It's this excitement that keeps numismatics alive, a perfect blend of mystery, discovery, and nostalgia. Sometimes, a small coin like this becomes more than an object, it becomes a storyteller. It speaks of an era of craftsmanship, of mechanical errors that turned into miracles, and of the human desire to preserve beauty in the smallest details. If you are lucky enough to find a 1955 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny in your collection, handle it carefully. Keep it safe from humidity, store it in a protective case, and avoid cleaning it with any chemicals. Cleaning old coins can actually damage them and reduce their value dramatically. The natural patina that forms over time adds character and authenticity, something true collectors deeply respect. Many auction houses and online platforms have sold these coins for impressive sums. Every year, new records are set as more collectors compete for high-grade examples. It's no surprise, this coin is a beloved relic of American minting, and each surviving example grows rarer as time passes. So next time you come across an old penny, take a moment to look at the date. If it reads 1955 with no mint mark, you might be holding something truly special. It's a small, humble reminder that even the tiniest objects can carry incredible stories and values within them. And now, let's reveal the most exciting part that everyone has been waiting for: the value of this historical coin. If you happen to own a well-preserved, high-grade example of the United States of America 1955 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny, its estimated worth can reach as high as $47,666. Yes, you heard that right. A single small copper penny from 1955, just 1 cent in face value, can today be valued at $47,666. Welcome back, everyone, to World Information HD, the channel where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins from the United States of America. Coins that could be hiding right inside your pocket change. Today's episode is one of those stories that truly surprises collectors and casual viewers alike. We're talking about one of the last coins ever made in the legendary wheat penny series, the 1958 D-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny. It might look like just another old penny to the untrained eye, but the truth behind this small copper coin is far more interesting than most imagine. It's a coin that marks both an end and a beginning, the end of the classic wheat reverse design, and the beginning of a new chapter in American coinage history. But here's the twist: some of these humble coins have sold for astonishing amounts at auctions, catching the attention of coin hunters, collectors, and even metal detection enthusiasts across the world. Let's travel back in time for a moment, to the year 1958. The world was changing fast. The space race was heating up, Elvis Presley was dominating the airwaves, and in the United States Mint, workers in Denver were striking what would become the final issue of the wheat reverse design, a design that had been part of America's coinage since 1909, when President Theodore Roosevelt wanted to beautify U.S. coins. The design, created by Victor David Brenner, depicted President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, making it the first regular-issue U.S. coin to feature a real person. On the reverse were two simple but powerful wheat stalks, symbolizing American agriculture, prosperity, and unity. By 1958, this design had already been in production for nearly 50 years. The Denver Mint that year was busy. It produced hundreds of millions of these wheat pennies. However, as with any minting process, not all coins came out perfect. Tiny variations, minting errors, or exceptional conditions could transform an ordinary penny into something extraordinary. And that's exactly what happened with the 1958 D. Lincoln Wheat Penny. Now, the Denver Mint, marked with that small D beneath the date, was known for precision, but that didn't make it immune to minting quirks. Many of the coins from that year show slight doubling on the date or lettering, die cracks, or other small features that pique the interest of collectors. For example, some 1958 D pennies have what's called a die chip around the 8, or D, or a faint doubling on the word, liberty, or in God we trust. These tiny imperfections are what give coin enthusiasts a thrill, because in numismatics, rarity means value. Think about it, millions of these coins were struck, but over the decades, how many survived in pristine condition? How many were lost, worn down, or corroded in jars, pockets, and drawers? The number of mint-state examples, those that have never seen circulation and still have their original luster, is incredibly small. And when a collector finds one in perfect condition, the price can jump dramatically. The 1958 D wheat penny holds a special place in history because it was the final wheat penny minted at the Denver facility before the transition to the new design in 1959, the Lincoln Memorial Reverse. That fact alone gives it sentimental value for collectors. It represents the end of an era, the last time America would see the simple wheat ears on its cents. But what really drives excitement are the era coins. There are a few varieties of the 1958 D that command attention. Some have a slightly off-center strike, where the design is shifted from its normal position. Others might display a weak D mint mark, almost invisible, due to a light stamping. And while the ultra-famous 1958 double die variety is known from the Philadelphia Mint, collectors often seek Denver examples hoping to discover an unreported variant. Each small variation tells a story about the minting process. A double die happens when the die, the metal piece that stamps the coin, receives two impressions from the hub that are slightly misaligned. The result? Letters and numbers that appear doubled, giving the coin a dramatic and collectible look. Even slight doubling can multiply a coin's value many times over. Beyond errors, condition plays a massive role. A circulated 1958 D penny might only fetch a few cents to a few dollars. But a brilliant uncirculated specimen, the kind that looks as if it was made yesterday, can bring hundreds, even thousands, especially if graded by top services like PCGS or NGC. Grading is the official process of evaluating a coin's condition, and it ranges from poor to mint state 70, MS 70, a perfect coin with no visible flaws under magnification. Most collectors dream of finding coins in MS 65 or higher, because that's where the real money begins to appear. Imagine finding an old jar of coins passed down from your grandparents. Inside, you notice a shiny copper penny dated 1958 with a tiny D under the date. At first, it seems ordinary. But upon closer inspection, you realize it's nearly flawless. The details on Lincoln's hair are sharp, the lettering crisp, and the wheat stalks on the back glow with that signature red-orange hue that copper coins once had. That's the kind of discovery that could change a person's day, or even their life. Collectors love the 1958 D for more than just its looks or rarity. It's symbolic. It represents the bridge between America's agricultural past and its modern identity. By 1959, the wheat penny gave way to the Lincoln Memorial Cent, a design meant to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. But many collectors say the charm of the wheat design, with its vintage simplicity, has never been replaced. Interestingly, while billions of Lincoln Memorial cents have been made since then, none have captured the warmth and nostalgia of the wheat design. That's why even the most common wheat pennies hold sentimental and collector value. When it comes to investment potential, wheat pennies, especially those from the late 1950s, remain a favorite starting point for new collectors. They're accessible, recognizable, and affordable to start with, yet the possibility of discovering a high-grade gem or a rare era keeps the excitement alive. The 1958 wheat penny is one of those coins that balances availability with potential rarity perfectly. You see, while many exist, very few have survived in near-perfect condition. That scarcity in top grades is what drives the high prices we sometimes see. And with coin collecting growing rapidly across the internet, from YouTube channels like this one to online auctions and marketplaces, the demand for classic American coins is stronger than ever. The copper content alone is another fascinating topic. Pennies from 1958 were made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, a composition that gives them their distinct reddish tone. After 1982, the U.S. Mint switched to copper-plated zinc, making earlier all-copper coins even more special. So, every 1958 penny is not only a relic of history but also a physical piece of metal that's now far more valuable than its face value. Many collectors today even look at the metal composition itself as part of the charm. Each coin is a tiny capsule of America's industrial and cultural past. Now, when collectors search for the 1958 penny, they often send their finds for professional grading to determine its MS, mint state, level. Coins graded MS67 red, meaning full red luster, near perfect preservation, and no spots or scratches, are incredibly rare and command top prices. Those few shining examples are what push the coin's market value into the astonishing range that has stunned collectors at major auctions. Think about it. A 1-cent coin, struck more than 60 years ago, that has survived without a single scratch, maintaining its original fiery red color. Coins like that are more than collectibles. They're time travelers from 1958, preserved perfectly against the odds. So, if you ever come across a 1958 wheat penny, don't let it slip through your fingers. Look closely. Check the date. Inspect the mint mark under magnification. If it glows with full copper brilliance and shows minimal wear, it might just be one of those rare survivors. And if you ever find a mint error, like a dyed break, off-center strike, or doubling on the lettering, you could be holding something truly exceptional, a coin that tells a story of imperfection, history, and rarity all in one. Collectors continue to cherish the 1958 not just for its potential value, but because it represents a farewell to a beloved design that defined an era of American coinage. It's a piece of art, a piece of craftsmanship, and a piece of national pride, all packed into one tiny copper circle. So, whether you're a longtime numismatist or a beginner with a handful of change, keep your eyes open for this final Denver minted wheat penny.